Hi there, my name is Ryan. I am a Melbourne-based Yu-Gi-Oh player in Australia, and this weekend we had the Churnside Park's inaugural regional championship, hosted by Jared Darcy, who did a fantastic job. And I was asked by Mr. My Data to provide a deck profile for the Runick Stun list that I took to the event. I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a very long time, and this is probably the third time someone's asked me to do a deck profile over my long tenure. So I'm very grateful to have the opportunity. I will just go through the cards. I'll explain myself a little bit. Team Inspector Border. Old lists of Runick Stun were playing Amano Iwado in the main deck. That's just more for breaking boards, but a lot of the removal this day is spell and trap based. So Inspector Border is just fantastic for going first, and it's acceptable for breaking boards in pure strategies only. Runick's, I'm going to keep it fairly straightforward. 3 tip, 3 flashing, 3 freezing, 3 destruction, 3 slumber, 1 golden droplet, 1 smiting storm, and 2 fountain. There is a list on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck that has dispelling in it. That's me being stupid. I sent them the wrong deck list that had defissure instead of dispelling. Dispelling instead of defissure. Dispelling did not come up. It was not meant to be in my list. I decided defissure was just going to be better because in Australia and in Melbourne and at a local store, everyone I thought was going to be queuing up Dracotail and the Brand Destructure deck, and I was half right. And so I just wanted to pick cards to clean up that matchup. Very standard things. 3 Duality, 3 Desires, Cut of Demise, 1 Day of Peace, Card Scanner, Terraforming. Card Scanner is a pretty optional include if I wanted to get another Floodgate in there. I probably would trade it out for a second Defissure. You can't really play cards like Extravagance or Prosperity because you do end up drawing more cards in your turn than just using Fountain, namely the Radiant Typhoon cards. I could certainly see myself moving towards a variety of the deck that plays Majesty's Fiend in the main deck, but for this event, this worked just fine. The only reason we come back to this is Radiant Typhoon Vision. Obviously, draw 2 cards, discard 1 quick play spell. There are some side deck implications for this card, but otherwise this was a fantastic way to bait things out ahead of a Desires or a Tip or a Card of Demise. Help that it's a quick play spell. The only floodgates in this deck are 2 Synchro Zone, 1 Gozen, 1 Rivalry, 1 There Can Only Be 1, and Defissure. Again, this is the card that wasn't on my Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck list for some reason. These 3 cards kind of explain themselves. Gozen Match wasn't in order to include while Skill Drain was at 3, but while Skill Drain was at 3, all the removal was monster based, so we don't put that in the deck anymore. Synchro Zone does just, again, with the theory that everyone is playing a fusion strategy, you just want to put the card on the field that says your fusion monsters cannot attack, and you will eventually win by attrition. Pretty much these 3 all handle Dracotail in different ways, and they all disrupt the Brandon strategy in different ways, enough whether they can't produce enough removal for you. The only card in that matchup that you care about is Brandon the Virtuous, and if you play more Defissures, that card won't matter because they can't send the card to graveyard for cost. Extra deck is very self-explanatory. 3 Hugin, 3 Gary, 3 Freaky. Multiple times I won matches because no one knows what this card does, and I was able to just pick the 2 last cards off my opponent's deck with this. I never summoned Munin. Munin was definitely more of an include for back when Cosmic Cyclone was a card. With another regional coming up on Sunday, it may still stay in the deck, just for the purposes of people counter-picking me. But you don't need to gain the life points anymore. You probably can just play the 1 because you have enough of the other guys to play just to chump block attacks. Which is really the only reason why you play so many. Sleipnir didn't summon it, but it can come up. Just to remove a big attacker. I never have summoned a token off of this card's effect. Bagooska, because you play Inspector Border and Gary. Typhon, because who needs to summon after this one anyway? And SP for removal. I did manage to remove a Man with the Mark, which stuck my opponent underneath his own Secret Village of the Spellcasters, which was very funny. Side deck, again, and then again, disclosure, side deck does contain a card that is different from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck file. I'll point it out. 3 Sphere mode. This card is probably not in my side deck for the next event, which is coming up this weekend. There were no points in which I felt my opponent was summoning 3 monsters that I wanted to tribute, because the only deck that's really going wider than that are either... what was it? The only deck that's really going wider than this is Yamimitsu, and you just don't want to tribute those guys, and you're kind of forced to. If Yamimitsu end on a very small board, then you're going to be forced to tribute a Habakiri or a Murakumo, and that's just really not advantageous for you. This card could almost be a main deck inclusion with how well it deals with Draco Tail. Plus, there's no... outside of Herald, there's almost no way to negate this. Just checking myself if that's correct. Yeah, I don't remember there being a good way to play around evenly matched, particularly with Draco Tail. Shared Ride. Wasn't a big fan of this card. I think what I would primarily do is only play this... you can only play this going first, and I don't think this deck has trouble with going first. I was just missing a card to play in the side deck, and Shared Ride would look like a quick play spell. I'll keep those aside. 1 Judgment, 1 Amato, 1 Defissure. This is the 3rd Crocea. The reason I wanted to play Crocea is, obviously, you can, in the Mitsu or the Yummy or the hybrid matchup, you can summon Crocea. Let's piss all this off. Summon Crocea during your opponent's turn when they activate Surprise or the Prayers, Search Vision, and MST. And now you have an MST to clear the Purification, and then you can Vision back the MST to clear another back row or the field spell. There's 3 different ways you can play this combination. Like I said, you can MST, Vision back the MST, put the MST back on board to pop another card, or you can Vision, discard MST, draw 2 cards, or you can Vision with another quick play spell in hand, get rid of that, draw 2 more cards, chain MST, target the Vision, and the Vision now becomes set. It has a lot of versatility in that respect, and I'll probably play 3 of this, or even a larger Radiant Typhoon package to catch my opponents out. That was about the only interesting part of this deck. Questions would be, Ryan, why would you take Stun to a regional? Well, it's the only deck that I know how to play when I don't want to prepare for a YCS or an Oceanic level event. Many people are quite frustrated when I play Stun, which is kind of the intended effect. We did achieve 2 non-minor crash outs from my opponents, but ultimately the people who play decks with high removal and that aren't stupid will probably beat this deck 9 out of 10 times, and the 1 out of 10 time I probably just drew the absolute stones, and there was really nothing they could do anyway. That's really it. I welcome any questions about this. I do have a small channel called Forbidden Card Slots on YouTube, where I have a 45-minute Runick Stun video. Essentially everything you need to know about Runick Stun. It pretty much applies to every format. Have a watch if you're interested in how to play these beautiful blue turquoisey cards. And look, if you're interested or have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'll talk about Runick Stun all day. Please don't ask me about Morganite Stun. Runick Stun is the genetically superior stun strategy. Thank you again for Mr. My Data for having the video. And once again, congratulations to Jared for running a really spectacular regionals last Saturday at Churnside Park General Games. Thanks.